Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 201. The EV takeover in Denmark continues, and it is a good showcase of what is going on. And Ford will cut the 2024 F150 Lightning production in half. And we are seeing the old OEMs starting to crumble. And BMW is out making the fool of themselves once again. And Sandy got a tour of the Cybertruck by all the big heads inside Tesla. And his mind was blown.
Are you kidding me?
And Lucid also faced more trouble this week, and German autos lobby openly against Tesla in India. And Tesla dropped a bombshell this week out of the blue. All of this and much more in today's episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
So, the EV story continues in Denmark and is actually a really good showcase of what is happening in the car market. As I mentioned before, Norway was the first to go pretty much all EVs, but their EV adoption was actually slower than many of the European countries as today. And my country of Denmark is a good showcase, as we in November had 44% BEV market share in my country, and only 2 years ago in 2021, the year ended off with 14% BEV market share. The whole year of 2023 is of course not over, but it looks like we might end the whole year off with around 40% BEV market share. And just last year in 2022 we had 20% BEV market share. So the BEV market share has doubled in just 1 year. Yes, Volkswagen can talk about EV demand problems all they want, but it's not in my country anyway. But this chart made by Electric Nick just shows very well what is going on. As you can see, the ice has fallen off a cliff. Like literally falling off a cliff. It peaked in 2019 with about 220,000 units sold. And then came COVID and we saw a big drop in ICE car sales, not just in Denmark but globally. But BEV actually grew, and quite a lot, and the trend has continued ever since. The ICE car business has literally been cut in half, actually more than half, and we can see the car market has actually grown in 2023, even with the last month to go. But that is not because ICE is getting back to pre-pandemic level. No, that is because BEVs has grown so much because ICE is yet again down for the 4th year straight. And remember that orange color there does include plug-in hybrids. So this is just pure BEVs that are taking over. So the old guys were hoping that a plug-in hybrid would make them able to apply with the emission restrictions in Europe, because they do not need so many batteries and they still need service. So that fits very well into the old guys' business model. They can sell them even at a loss, but then get them into the ever-ending loop of service and repairs, which BEVs doesn't. And that is why the old guys here in Europe only makes just enough BEVs, as I have shown before, to not get a fine here in Europe for meeting their emission targets. They really don't want to make these BEVs as they make them lose money. So they tried to make them as cheaply as possible, which was also something Volkswagen got a lot of hate for with the ID.3 when it came out, that it had a very cheap interior with cheap plastic, because Volkswagen is trying to make their EVs as cheaply as possible, because they would still lose money on them. And on top of that, the software has been an absolute disaster, making the ID.3 overpriced for what you got. And that is why Volkswagen today is sitting with EVs in general that they don't see the demand for that they hoped. Because that does not mean there is a slowdown in demand for EVs in general. They want it to look that way because they don't want the world to know they came out with an uncompetitive BEVs. But as you can see here in my country, what is the demand problem? ICE cars are literally dropping out of the sky, and BEVs are the one doubling its market share since last year. And as you can see, BEV market share is not slowing down, it is accelerating, no matter what the mainstream media or legacy automakers want you to believe. Ford cuts 2024 F-150 Lightning production plans by half according to supplier. According to a planning memo obtained by Automotive News, Ford has told suppliers to prepare for an average volume of around 1,600 Lightnings a week at its Road Electric Vehicle Center starting in January. It has planned to assemble an average of 3,200 a week toward an annual goal of 150,000 units, but now they're aiming for about 75 to 80,000 units. Had this been Tesla, they would have been completely roasted in the mainstream media. CNBC was even out saying this was a good thing from Ford. I mean, what the hell? But anyway, in 2022, Ford changed their target because of all the demand they saw for the F-150 Lightning, from 40,000 to 80,000 to 150,000 for 2024. But now the demand has apparently disappeared, and they are now back to 75 to 80,000 units in 2024. But as you can see from my comments back from October 2021 on these numbers that I did in a video that you might have seen, I actually had Ford F-150 Lightning set for 80,000 units in 2024, because that was what I thought would be a realistic ramp, and it seems like I am going to be pretty close on that target. But as you can see, I then had the Mark E at 200,000 and the E-Transit at 120,000 units, because we needed to get to 600,000 units in 2024 if Ford should have any chance of getting to the 2 million vehicles by 2026 as they said they would. But then I have 3 question marks here, because even though this was a pretty aggressive ramp for the Mark E and the E-Transit, that still only adds up to 400,000 units. So we are still missing 200,000 units for 2024, but Ford had not revealed any new models yet at that point, so I had no idea what would fill in for that 200,000 units. Now we know they have shown us the Ford Explorer here in Europe and said they would have 7 new EV models in 2024. But we still have not really heard much except about the Explorer, which has already been delayed. So pretty clear Ford will get nowhere near that 600,000 units in 2024, as I said they had to get to have a chance to get to 2 million just 2 years later. So it was already pretty clear in 2021 that this was a very optimistic timeline for this ramp, and we could see straight away in 2022 that they were already behind. So it has been clear for years that they would not be able to do this, but it took them a couple of years to come out and admit it. Or they didn't really admit it, they just blame it on weak EV demand, even though Tesla sells 10 times as many EVs. And they did talk about great demand in 2022, but they were still behind their own targets in 2022, so maybe the demand issue for their EVs came as a little savior for the old guys, as it was becoming quite clear they were not able to hit those targets. Even though GM is still saying 1 million in 2025 for the US alone is no problem. I hardly think there is anyone left out there that truly believes that, other than maybe Marabara herself. So yeah, Ford is cutting back on the F-150 Lightning production just as Tesla is ramping up the Cybertruck. That is probably not a good sign for Ford. They see a weak demand for their Lightning, but the demand for the Cybertruck is off the chart. So now Tesla will ramp up the most pre-ordered vehicle in history that is a straight hit on Ford's most profitable market, the pickup market. This could be a knockout punch from Tesla if Ford doesn't figure out how to get more demand for their electric pickup truck. And the consequences of not having a competitive EV from the old guys is starting to take a hold of the industry as a whole, and jobs are being cut by many. Bosch confirmed job cuts. As a spokesman said, in need for adjustment of up to 1,500 personnel capacity in total in the areas of development, administration and sales by the end of 2025. The large automotive supplier has invested billions in the shift to e-mobility, but manufacturers such as Volkswagen and Mercedes are selling too few electric cars, and that has consequences. As Bosch says, we are facing significantly greater challenge than expected at the beginning of the year. But it is not only Bosch. Audi also intend to lay off several hundred of employees in Baden-Württemberg in Germany in 2024, according to information from SWR. And we already know about job cuts at Ford and GM and Volkswagen, so we are truly seeing the big boys fall from grace. We are seeing cutbacks all around in the industry, while Tesla speeds along, expanding their factories and hiring about 78 people every single day. If people still can't see the shift that is happening, I don't think they will be able to see it before it's all over. But one that is suffering hard from paradigm paralysis is BMW. They still don't get the writing on the wall. As BMW's CEO Zipse was out saying this week, we don't want to write off the combustion engine. Openness to technology is not a backlog of decisions. Rather, it's the wrong to talk down products that are still on offer. Yes, don't talk down to that Nokia phone. And as he continues, diversity is a recipe for success. A radical reduction in complexity, on the other hand, is risky. If you do that, you will shrink. I mean, what the hell? Oh, so just like Tesla has very little complexity and therefore has the best-selling car in the world. No BMW. I think you're forgetting.
Complexity appeals to stupid people.
Yes, and forgetting the product range architecture that Steve Jobs used to save Apple from bankruptcy in 1997, or Alfred P. Sloan that created the ladder of success for GM back in 1921, that they have all forgotten about. But just like BMW probably doesn't even know it exists and what it is. They should watch my video about product range architecture I did a couple years back, linked down below, because more choices does not lead to more sales, and complexity in production does not lead to more units produced. Quite the opposite.
Complexity appeals to stupid people.
So we are truly seeing the beginning of the end here. Legacy automakers are falling apart together with their suppliers, and Tesla is growing, expanding, and reducing complexity.
Complexity appeals to stupid people.
And one place Tesla is reducing complexity is in their Cybertruck, as we all probably know by now. But Sandy got a tour of everything inside the Cybertruck by the 5 leading heads inside Tesla. If you have not yet seen the whole video, you really should. There's so much good stuff in it and so interesting. But one thing that I said in my video about the Cybertruck after the delivery event was that the reason why Tesla didn't come with the 500-mile version was probably just because they found out that 99.9% of drivers would never going to use that 500 miles of range, because the average driver in the US drive like 40 miles a day. So that is why they made the extended range battery pack option, so that people who actually need it, they can still get it, and the 99% who don't need it don't need to get a worse truck and have an oversupply of batteries in it. And when Sandy then talked with the guys about it, well, what do you know?
But yeah, with the range extender up over 460 miles, and obviously if you're somebody that tows a lot, like, I don't know, San Francisco to Tahoe, the range extender might make sense, but...
Well, the average person drives 40 miles a day. I mean, it's like...
That's why I decided to make it an optional add-on.
And I mean, most people, you know, 340 miles, 320 miles, what we're going to give in the dual and the tri, like, that's totally fine, like, for anybody. And then we want to make more electric vehicles, right? So, like, rather than putting more cells in that no one's ever going to use... Do you want it? You can buy it.
As Lars said, Tesla wants to build more EVs, so they are not going to do a GM thing like the Hummer EV, because GM wants to build as few EVs as possible and put a 243 kilowatt-hour battery into a car. Tesla can build 2 cyber beasts for every Hummer EV on the same amount of battery. There is a reason why Ford has gotten the Lightning to tear apart and the Rivian and the Tesla, but GM has never given Sandy a Hummer to pull apart, because they know what they have built is the most inefficient and complex EV on the planet, and they don't want the world to know. But Tesla, on the other hand, has made an engineering masterpiece with the Cybertruck. Sandy's mind was blown so many times through this interview because of the way Tesla was doing things.
So is this like 8,000 tons?
No, this is actually a 6,500 ton. The rear,
Are you kidding me?
The rear is 9,000 tons. Yeah.
How? Okay, so how
It's
did
just
you
about
keep it
flow,
together?
right? Like you gotta, like when you think about tonnage, it's about how much metal you're moving within the platen size and how fast you're moving it. But you can restrict that metal flow by like making bad, feeds in bad directions. But when you look at the side, the flow, the biscuit comes in through the middle there.
Yeah.
And then we flow it all out and we do it like a river, because like liquid metal wants to move like a river. A lot of times when you see these people copying us, and maybe I'm giving it away stuff, but it's an engineer drew it, right? And they drew triangles and trusses.
Yeah.
Right. But here at Tesla, we have in-house die designers that sit right next to the guys that are designing the castings, and they're going back and forth on simulations so that we can lower the tonnage of the presses we're using by integrating the design of the part into the design of the tool, which is why we don't need necessarily 8,000 ton press for the front. When we started, we thought we would. We said, we're gonna need 8,000 tons. But we worked through the team, and we actually can make this front one on the same equipment as we make the Model Ys.
A brilliant video from Sandy. I really highly recommend you all to see the whole thing. So again, the engineering of the truck is just amazing, and the reviews are all good. Even Matt from CarWow has ordered one, but before he did that, he kicked the living hell out of it. But it's a Cybertruck. It doesn't even care.
Come on, join in, guys.
Yeah, don't do that with your F-150. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this new show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. Tesla did drop a bombshell this week out of the blue. They introduced the Tesla Bot Gen 2. That was just such a leap forward. It's hard to wrap your head around the speed of progress Tesla has with their robot. But I did make a whole video about this in my little series about Tesla Beyond Cars. So if you want to learn more, check that one out. Link down below, or go to my YouTube site and check out the playlist called Tesla Beyond Cars. But huge congratulations to the Tesla Bot team on the insane progress you have made in such a short time. 2 years ago, they had nothing. And surprise, surprise, new trials of using hydrogen to heat the homes in Brighton with hydrogen boilers is getting cancelled. So not just one trial, but multiple trials have been cancelled. Oh, I'm so surprised. I have made videos on this for years on how stupid this idea was, but as they write in this article, the problem is that hydrogen currently needs a large amount of renewable energy to be created in an environmentally friendly way. Yes, about 2 to 3 times as much green energy is needed to create hydrogen than just use the electricity itself. But the stupidity doesn't end there. Hydrogen is heat energy and electricity is working energy. So you're taking the most efficient type of energy and making it into a less efficient energy. So you would need about 6 times as much heat energy to heat your home than if you just used the electricity to run a heat pump. So it cost at least 3 times as much to create the hydrogen, and then you have to use 6 times as much energy to heat your house. This is just a lose-lose-lose situation, and you can't really transport it either, as I showed in other videos. So no wonder that the residents are choosing the cheapest and best option for them. But the government is still looking at other trials before they make their final decision in 2026. So they still want to waste taxpayers' money for another 2 years. Great. And Lucid is facing more trouble, as within a few days Lucid delisted from the Nasdaq and the CFO has left the company. The problem for Lucid is not like the other OEMs that has a non-competitive product, but Lucid just has a very uncompetitive price. Had they come out with the Air at the same time at the Model S back in 2012, the situation would have been a lot different. But now there is so much competition out there, and Lucid sit with one of the most expensive vehicles on its hands. It is good, but the demand for such an expensive vehicle in these times is not going to be very high, and that is why we see their sales going down, not ramping up. And the Tesla Cybertruck officially approved for the $7,500 EV tax credit, but only the ones under $80,000, so not the Cyber Beast, of course. And we have more signs that the legacy automakers are getting desperate, trying to stop Tesla. German autos are lobbying openly against Tesla in India. The German government is planning to file a protest against the planned India reduction of import tariffs for BEVs, which they believe will unfairly benefit Tesla and disadvantage German brands such as Mercedes, Volkswagen and BMW. Yes, because you are making ICE cars, and Tesla will eat into your ICE sales with their BEVs. And if Tesla build a factory in India, it will no doubt be building the next generation vehicle there, so that will really hurt the Germans, as this is really a high volume vehicle. So the Germans are spending time and money on trying to stop Tesla instead of trying to catch up. So that is probably a very good indication that they have found out they can't catch up. So the only thing left is to try to hurt Tesla as much as possible to slow them down. And as I've said before, for quite some time now, technology is the new luxury. I even had a t-shirt at one point saying this, but now we see this actually playing out in China. As Alexandra shared on X the new German study from MHP, which is actually part of Porsche, on acceptance of Chinese cars and the expectation of car buyers with regard to software-defined vehicles, some computers on wheels. And this is a big study. I will leave a link down to Alexandra's post about it, and also the study itself if you want to dive deeper. But a couple of things here. 73% of participants are considering digital components as a decisive feature when choosing a car. 100% of the respondents in China. So as we talked about many times before, the Chinese people don't want the German EVs because they are subpar when it comes to software, and 100% of the Chinese buyers has this as a decisive feature. So this study just confirmed what we have been talking about for so many years. Software is the new luxury. I also made a whole video on this, so if you want to know even more, check that one out, link down below. And Joe Tagmeyer shared some pictures from Giga Texas factory, where he found some concrete tunnel linings from the Boring Company at the west side, so on the other side of the highway from the factory itself. So it looks like we might soon get some action from the Boring Company at the Texas factory. Can't wait to see what actually they plan on doing here. But Joe thinks it is to go under the highway for new vehicle movement. So kind of what I speculated about many years ago when we heard about the permission the Boring Company was seeking to dig at the Texas factory. That I said it was to be able to get cars or maybe even trucks quickly out of there without worrying about traffic. But guess we will soon learn a little bit more. And Joe also shared a lot of Cybertrucks casting, so Tesla is definitely hard at work producing the Cybertruck. It's not the lack of casting holding them back, but only a day later Joe found a whole little army of Cybertrucks in front of the Giga factory, so it is starting. Looks like as many units as GM has made of the Hummer EV so far. And you know how many people think full self-driving cars are dangerous? Well, Tasha Keeney from ARK Invest shared this chart showing the rate of death of pedestrian at night in the US per million resident. And you guys in the US, you need to learn how to drive, man. Because the scary thing here is that the US has gone up like 50% over the last 10 years, while we can see other countries are going down. But yeah, We are the dangerous one in the car, so full self-driving cars will save so many lives, including pedestrian. It cannot get here fast enough. And CarWow shares some spec about the most powerful Mercedes AMG SL ever, their performance version. But just another example that the ICE performance cars are dead. It does a 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds, so not bad. But again, comparing this to Tesla, well, even the Cybertruck will kick its ass on 0 to 60. Even though this little sports car can almost fit in the bed of the Cybertruck. And again, with all the hate Tesla Cybertruck has got for the price, the Cyber Beast is still half the price of this tiny little sports car. But at least the Mercedes here can run on EV power for 8 miles. I mean, why even bother? What a joke. And then we see the interior. I mean, maybe this is just me, but I think the designers for the legacy automakers have just lost it. It's like they don't know how to merge the old with the new and just smash it all together and hope for the best and end up with this clusterfuck of an interior. But maybe that's just me. But £200,000? Yeah, I think I will pass on this one. And Tesla has surpassed Ford to become the most searched auto brand in the US according to Compare the Market data. Tesla has gone from not making the ranking at all in 2022, which I find a bit weird, but anyway, to second place in 2023, with 29 out of 155 countries listed Tesla as their #1 brand in Google Trends. Not bad for a car company that doesn't really use advertising much. And speaking of advertising, the Cybertruck has probably got more attention over the last couple of weeks than any other product ever. Even MKBHD, that makes tech videos and have over 18 million followers, well, his Cybertruck video is now the 5th most viewed video he has ever done on his channel, in less than 2 weeks from its release. And then you can combine that with CarWow's many videos that all adds up to 18 million views as well, and Haggerty's 4.6 million and Top Gear's 4 million. So within a couple of weeks, just from these 4 guys, the Cybertruck has got over 45 million views. Not bad. And we keep hearing from so many people how the Cybertruck will not be a safe car because of the short crumble zone. But let's hear it from the experts themselves that actually built the world's safest cars, as Cybertruck wrote on X. It's not about the size of your crumble zone, it's about how you use it. When in a high-speed collision, Cybertruck's front underbody casting is designed to break into smaller pieces. This helps reduce occupants' impact by absorbing and dispensing energy. Yep, like Lars also explained at Sandy Munro's video, the safety and crumble zone is designed into the Giga castings itself. And we got a new configurator live in the Middle East, now live in Qatar as well. Nice, yet another new market for Tesla. But we hear about how there is no demand for EVs anymore, but I have already shown you that it is booming in Europe. But here are some facts about Canada's Q3 numbers. Zero-emission vehicles registration reached 12.1% in Canada in Q3, powered by the single biggest quarterly leap in zero-emission vehicles adoption in Canada to date, according to Statistics Canada. And of the zero-emission vehicles, 76% was BEVs. So the biggest leap in EV adoption in Canada ever, up 33% quarter over quarter, but Ford and GM sees weak EV demand. Well, I guess they mostly buy Teslas in Canada then, because the EV adoption continues to rise and break records with or without the old guys. Industry critics and commentator also said despite the gloomy forecast by automakers, data was showing that the zero-emission vehicle demand was rising, even though the overall passenger car vehicles registrations are falling. So the trend is pretty clear, just as I showed here in Denmark. Ice Age is melting, and EVs are rising. And just a little anecdote from a Tesla owner, as Zach wrote on X. After 4.5 years and 192,400 miles driven, 44 states and 50 plus track days later, there has been no other product that has ever given me more joy than this car has. Now, that Model 3 starts at $36,000 in inventory. There is no better deal out there. Orders yours today, you won't regret it. Amen to that. And a big congratulations to the Megapack team on 12 gigawatt hours of operating industrial storage at 99% availability. And don't forget that every Megapack Tesla sells, they also get recurring revenue every year on maintenance. And the German union opposes a Swedish union and supports Tesla. German's trade union AG Metal turns down union IF Metals in Sweden's call to action against Tesla, as they said, you strike for your own business, for your own wages. A political strike would mean violating the duty to work. Yes, that would be an illegal strike in Germany. Sorry, IF Metal. And we really need to stop calling over-the-air updates a recall. I know many of the legacy automakers usually have to make a real recall to fix anything, even software issues, but the mainstream media makes it sound like Tesla is recalling 2 million cars, which is not the case, but makes for a great headline, right? Tesla told NHTSA that want Tesla's drivers to be more alert when autopilot is turned on, that it will release an over-the-air software update to correct the issue. The update will add more control and alert to encourage the driver to remain engaged in driving tasks, including keeping hands on the steering wheel and paying attention to the road. So, a non-issue blown up by mainstream media. And GM's Cruise in more bad news this week, as GM Cruise fires 9 leaders amid ongoing self-driving investigation. As Cruise Vice President of Global Government Affairs said, as a company, we are committed to full transparency and rebuilding trust and operating at the highest standard when it comes to safety, integrity and accountability. As a result, we believe new leadership is necessary to achieve these goals. Yes, you need to rebuild trust as you didn't have full transparency and lied. So probably not a bad idea firing the old leader's team. And Tesla has partnered with Uber to make their new inventory vehicle available for drivers to purchase on the Uber vehicle marketplace. Uber is offering up to $3,000 for people that take deliveries before the end of the year. So a little extra incentive to get some Tesla inventory vehicle off the lot in the last couple of weeks of the year. And Tesla manufacturing shared on X. High tech not only in production. At Giga Berlin, we recycle up to 100% of our processed water in our state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant. Recycling is the key to sustainability. Funny how no one of the German legacy automakers or the mining plant also in Brandenburg that is using 140 times more water than Tesla does has not got any demonstration. Only Tesla that recycles 100% of their processed water. Why might that be? And nice to see Tesla finally fighting back against all the misinformation out there. Here on an article from Washington Post that is of course owned by Jeff Bezos, but here Tesla made a long post putting a lot of facts on the table. Nice. And before we end off with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to the newest supporter of this news show. My new YouTube members, Dan Johnston, Eugen Buryanov, or something not even close, sorry, and Alexander Verhaaren. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this news show. Thank you. And let's end off with a bit of fun. Tesla is rising fast, but it does create a problem.
I got a white Tesla Model Y. This is going to be amazing. Oh, is that it? Oh, no. Oh, is that it? No. Oh, is it that one? Nope. Oh, is it this one? Nope. Is it that one? Nope. That one? Nope. Is it the one behind it? Nope. Oh, it's got to be that one. Nope. Is it the one back there? Nope. Oh, here it is. We finally made it.
That is all we have time for in this news show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And don't forget, if you want to become an executive producer and get news articles, exclusive videos, early access, ads-free, sponsor-free, access to all my research, charts and spreadsheet, head over to bestintesla.com and join with the members button. And if you're already a subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for the support. But if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel, or become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out as some extra perks like early access, ad-free versions of my videos, exclusive videos. So hit the members button or check out Patreon to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on X. I post pretty much all the news as it comes out and a lot more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. It is also possible to support the show without becoming a member or a patron. There is a donation option down below or on my website bestintesla.com, or as simple as hitting the super like button. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.